mud in the cab.
Hey, Ronnie here, four-wheeling in Western Australia. Welcome to another trip. We are in Harvey at the moment and we're going to take on the Staples line, which is a very difficult track at the best of times. We're expecting a lot of mud, a lot of difficulty, and perhaps the winch is out more than a few times. So this is one of these tracks where you go out for a bit of a challenge. The lineup today: single cab cruiser, dual cab cruiser, and the Jeep. And yes, I don't have my canopy anymore at this current time. There's a couple of things I've done in preparation for this trip, and there's a few things that'll be a bit different for me. Now, what I've done to prepare myself is I've put on fresh tyres on the rear. I purposely didn't rotate my tyres for about 20,000 Ks to preserve two fresh tyres for these kind of mud tracks, like for winter time. So that's what I've done, and I got them put on a couple of days ago, so they are as new as they can be. And of course the canopy is no longer there, so I'm eager to see how well the Landcruiser handles without all that extra weight. Well, it was good to get the cobwebs blown out by that first section. Wasn't much, but it's been a while since we've been on the tracks like this. So at the moment we're just climbing a few hills until we get to the serious stuff on this track. And like I said before, it's more of a fun track. So it's not like about the destination this time, it's about the track. We're out here challenging ourselves and our vehicles, and there's not a lot of chicken tracks out here, which is great. I love it when there's not many chicken tracks, because then you have to think about the challenge ahead and think about the safest way to get over it and the best way to get over it for each vehicle. Rutted hills like this one, the best way to drive it is to straddle the rut, so wheels on either side of those big ruts, and then follow it all the way to the top, cross over when you have to. However, if it's wet, it's a very different story. here we are, the first serious hill. This one has a name, Pipe Hill. So this is the worst part of the track here. It's getting up this step here, and it's always been like this. And then there's another step further up, right there. But this one here is the worst one. Picking lines for this kind of stuff, we don't have much choice. We'll basically be in the ruts because it's so slippery and wet. If you try and ride the high side, you're going to slip in anyway. Well, the winch is coming out. I've had a few attempts at it, and you can't just keep trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Yep, it's time to winch again, and I think this winch has well and truly paid for itself by now over the last 2.5 years. That was a bit of a hill. Had to be winched twice to get up. Well, we got there in the end. That took an hour. 2 more cars to go. In slow motion, you can see exactly where we're losing momentum, and there's no use in keep trying over and over, hitting it harder and harder, because you're just going to damage the car and damage the track. How you going there?
Put a mud in the cab.
Oh, you did too.
Oh,
As you can see, you literally can't dig any deeper trenches here, or most of this track, because it's all hard rock. So normally with rock you get good traction, but the problem is all this mud that's being washed down from up the top there, from the water table, or must be a dam or something up there in a farm property, it's just making it super slippery. So every time we don't get it in one hit, we have to reverse quite a bit down so we get to sort of like a level spot. The Jeep having a smaller lift and smaller tyres, less clearance, we just went straight for the max tracks and pretty much went straight for the winching as well. tree trunk protector, extension strap with extension strap looped over itself onto the winch line, and then all the way back to the Jeep. So after about 40 minutes of winching, we finally got moving again. We made it out during daylight, which is a bonus. However, we took a series of wrong turns and ended up at camp in the dark again. We are at camp and we are experiencing the shortest days of the year here in July. Morning. And that's my new setup there now. So as you can see, the canopy's gone. My big ostrich awning is gone. So I'm using this cheap annex kind of style thing. And it's kept me dry. Wayne and Dylan next to me, they've just roughed it out in the open, but they seem to be fairly dry. I've just put this on the tarp on now just to stop it from getting too wet before I roll it up. My fridge is on this side now. And it seems to be okay in the wet. I've had it in the open before I had all the canopy and everything on. So I'm now running a roof bag to carry a lot of my camping gear, but it's made me cut down on gear a lot. And then just the rest of the space I just use blocks of wood and all that. And here's my little homemade camping table. Works quite well. I'll go through all this in detail when I reveal what else I'm doing to the vehicle, but this is my camp setup for the time being. Whilst we wait for the rain to disappear, a bit of hot brekkie is on the menu. To catch up with a fella called Adrian in an 80 series Landcruiser, and once we catch up with him, we're then going to head to Collie, which is in the southwest of Western Australia, where we kind of already are in the southwest. And we're going to do some tracks down there, and then eventually this evening camp on the banks of the Wellington Dam. Ready to hit the tracks again, and joined by 2 more vehicles this time, as you've already seen, met up before. Now, everyone's been asking me about my general grabbers, and I can't give you a comprehensive review on them yet because I haven't done enough Ks on them. But what I can tell you is, well, what you've also seen from what we did yesterday, they handle quite well, handle just as well as the other Landcruisers. I was told by a tyre shop they're like a hybrid between all-terrain and mud-terrain, but I'm pretty happy with them so far, especially considering the mud we encountered yesterday. But I'm now going to go through every vehicle and I'm going to ask them what PSI they got in them, and we'll have a look at the tyres as well, just really quick. And that should give you a rough idea for the tracks that we're going to do today. It'll give you a good idea of where you should be in your tyre PSI. So we'll start with mine. My fronts are on 21, my rears are on 25, and that's due to the weight I have on the back. Now I used to do the same kind of 4 to 5 PSI difference with the canopy, but I found yesterday it worked quite well, so I'm going to do it again. Wayne, you're just about airing down, eh?
Yeah, we finished. I got 18 in the front and 16 in the back.
18 and 16 in the back, okay. And what tyre is it?
The Wrangler Kevlar.
Goodyear Wrangler Kevlar 35 inch. Adrian, on the 80 series.
Yeah, I've gone down to 20
20
PSI.
all round?
All round for now.
Okay.
And might make adjustments later. But I don't have a lot of gear on the car, so
Yeah.
I think it might work.
And what tyres are they? BF?
33 inch BF mud terrains.
BF Goodrich KM2s?
KM2s, yeah.
Arnold?
That's Joshua's, he's got.
Oh, Josh, sorry.
I'm just running 18 PSI all round.
18 PSI around?
Yeah.
And they're a skinny looking tyre, them ones?
Yeah, they're pretty skinny. 34 inches.
34 inches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's BFG money.
I bet they were hard to get.
Yeah, they were pretty hard to get.
And then the Jeep. What do you got, Dad?
We got Federal motor 33 inch and we are running 18 PSI all around.
18 PSI all around. Okay, is that what you did yesterday too?
Yes.
Okay. So there you have it. That should give you a rough idea for the tracks we're going to take today. Oh, I think we'll hit the tracks now. Well, here I am, and I've picked the worst possible line to enter this section of the track. For this kind of terrain, slow and steady always wins the race. If you go too fast, well, you risk breaking something or putting a nice big dent in your door, which will be a long-lasting reminder of where you went wrong. On long, sloppy hill descents like this one, all you can really do is pick the ruts you want to stay in and then control your speed on the way down without using your brake as much as possible. Even though Brian has locked his Jeep into first gear low, it's an auto and it's petrol, so it will go down the hill a lot faster than the rest of the vehicles. It's not often on tracks where you have to go through deep boggy sections, and this is one of those times. Here's another option here, but apparently this is a real bad one, so we give that a miss. The middle one's supposed to be the best one, so we have to go through, which makes it a bit more exciting. It's a bit not as exciting if you get a bog hole you don't have to go through and you can go around it. Most of the time you should just go around it anyway, because this kind of mud is not good for your car.
The deepest spot right here.
What's the base like?
Soft, but then it has
Soft but hard at the bottom.
Soft but hard. Soft about so thick and then
How high is the middle?
no ruts.
Right, I'm ready to go. Everyone's ready to laugh at me. You'll notice on the tree right over there, we've got a tree trunk protector ready to go should I get stuck. And I've loosened the winch rope on the front. Really, I should have wrapped it around the front there, but there's no real easy spot to put it. So here we go. are nearing the end of our journey, but in front of us we have a tree in the way, and it's substantially big in size, so the easiest way to drag it is to drag it away from us. So I'm going to drive over it, and then we're going to pull it with some drag chains. We are approaching what I think is our last challenge, a sloppy downhill section. This doesn't look too bad here, but once we break the surface with a couple of vehicles, I think things are going to change pretty quick. That's how slippery it is.
Back up, Josh. Okay, that's how slippery it is.
That's the bit we gotta accelerate past to avoid ending up in there. In case you are wondering, during the entire trip, every single driver has used engine compression first gear low going down these sloppy hills, avoided using brakes at all costs, clever use of the accelerator when needed, and finally, clever use of steering when hugging the banks to avoid big holes and rocks. Here in slow motion, you'll notice how much mud actually comes off the tyres. So this is how mud tyres clean themselves. The faster they spin, the more mud gets ejected from the actual tread blocks, and thus the more traction you end up getting. We now head our separate ways as our new travel companions only came out for the day, and the rest of us are going to head for our campsite. Surprise, surprise, it's dark, we're still driving, looking for our camp. We know this area, so we've got a fair idea where the camp is. It just looks very different in the dark. We're setting up in the dark again. I think we've set up more in the dark than we have in the day. for a good while now. Good morning, very cold morning. I think it's about 1 degree. That's what the camp looks like. We are getting ready to pack up and have some warm bacon and eggs before we head back on home. So thank you very much for watching, and I apologise for the lack of drone footage. That was due to some software issues or technical issues I had with it, so I didn't even get to send it up on the first day, but it'll be back in the air next week, or well, on the next trip, which is next week for us. If you'd like to support the creation of videos like this, you can go to patreon.com/RonnieDale, and please do subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. I will see you in another video.